Hey everyone, Katie Sutton here, intuitive channel and founder of Zen Within Academy and the New Earth Now School with your Zen Within Stay update. I hope you all are doing really well this week. It's been a big couple of weeks for me as I've been integrating some pretty big spiritual downloads, and lots of things are changing for me in my own energetic landscape. And I'm noticing as I'm working with clients that there are some big themes up for folks right now. One of our energetic themes in February was this idea of balancing strength and vulnerability. And part of the spiritual download that I had 2 weeks ago is that we are going to continue to see a wider and wider expanse of frequencies that we have access to. For me, that looked like moving beyond 12th dimensional frequency, where I usually channel and bring in information from, all the way up to the 18th dimension. And to say that it was expansive and enlightening is probably the understatement of the century. I've spent the last 2 weeks working on with a brand new team to integrate these energies and pretty much asking for support every single time a thought process comes in that says, I'm not going to be able to do this, because that's some of the energy that we're clearing right now. And what I'm witnessing as I'm working with clients is that my sessions are changing, and what I'm able to see in their energy fields has expanded, and what I'm able to do with them has expanded. And that's not just me. That's not just this download that's happening for me. It's also what the collective is ready for and what the soul group that I support is ready for. And I am just witnessing that what they showed me in the winter solstice timeframe around the end of December, that there were new energies coming to the planet that we hadn't experienced before. I'm witnessing now us starting to integrate those higher lights that I knew were coming in. And it's interesting to witness changes in clients that I've been working with for a long time, where they're all of a sudden finally understanding some of the concepts of unity consciousness that I have been sharing with them in a new light. And that's what it has been for me as well, as I've been working with these higher frequencies, these 13 through 18 dimensional frequencies. What they have shown me is that I'm moving from an understanding of the concept of unity consciousness to a greater degree of embodying that frequency. And I believe that this is happening for everyone on a subtle level. And it makes sense to me, because when we are in times of extreme polarity, at some point, those two opposites become so polarized and divided, if you will. The opposing forces become so strong that at some point, everything comes back together and we begin to unify and come into a new state of wholeness before we again work on more polarity. And we go out and then we come in, and we go out and we can come in multiple times as we shift through frequency bands, and as we shift through understandings and awarenesses as a soul and through soul lessons. And so I'm really intrigued by this new energy that's coming in as I'm integrating it. What I have been having are experiences for a couple of hours at a time where I feel like I'm in an altered state of consciousness, where my senses are heightened, my awareness, my sensitivity is expanded, and I'm able to process information from the field in a different way. And so as I've been working with clients on this topic of strength and vulnerability and finding the balance between those two, what I'm witnessing is the ability for us to begin to see those vulnerable parts that are sensitive and empathic and are probably feeling the depth of the emotions of what's happening in the world, and actually begin to witness that through the lens of strength. And I'm also seeing the counter to that with my clients, where there is a realization that what they thought was a strong part of them that was keeping them moving forward and maybe forcing them into a little bit of effort, or spiritually bypassing certain lessons that they need to sit with or emotions that they need to sit with, they're finding little cracks of vulnerability in those strong parts that are actually needing some care and feeding, if you will, needing some attention. And as these two energies of strength and vulnerability become one, we start to realize that what we think might make us vulnerable actually makes us strong, and what we think makes us strong actually makes us vulnerable. And so let me give you a perfect example of that. When we are in a place of defensiveness against an energy coming towards us, and we are trying to hold strong and be defensive to that energy, we're actually not holding our highest light and our highest truth. And it actually makes us very vulnerable to taking on the very energies that we're battling against. However, when we drop down into that vulnerable energy and we say, gosh, this person or this energy that's coming at me is triggering X, Y, and Z. Let me be with the emotions of what is being triggered and let me find the light within that dark energy. We start to claim our power in a new way, and we start to expand, and we start to be able to hold ourselves and our frequency a little bit more strongly, and we can meet that energy without it disempowering us. And quite frankly, that is what it's going to take as we continue to see these systems and structures around us be dismantled and shift and change. Because if we keep meeting these systems that need to change with battle energy, we're just giving more power over to them. And so if you have to interact with something that is in a frequency that you don't align with, you can either say, I'm going to battle against you and try to make you see reason. Or you can say, I'm going to meet you where you are and see you very clearly in truth and see what's not aligned and keep making a choice with the understanding that I can always have what I need, even when I'm interacting with a system, a structure, a person that is out of alignment with me. And that's when we start to come into a greater degree of creatorship and ability to shift our reality much more quickly. As I've been sitting with these teachings on the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th dimensions, what I have witnessed are some changes or some, let me say that differently, some access that we have to make changes to things that we thought were out of our reach. For example, one of the dimensions in that upper realm works with the frequency of time in a new way. And so as I'm working with that dimension, I'm realizing, oh, I can go in and I can help this person work on something very far back in their timeline, all the way back to their conception. And I can help them to see that this energy can shift and it can move forward throughout all of their timeline into this now present moment. And so as I'm playing in these higher realms, I'm witnessing, wow, this is what I could intuitively feel was possible and knew was possible, but didn't have access to before. So I'm very excited because this to me feels, even though we are seeing all of these really dense, hard, scary things come to light and we're having to look them dead in the eye and witness that density and that suffering, there's such a higher frequency coming in to help us balance that out so that we don't become hopeless, so that we remember the truth of who we are as creator beings and we keep creating alternate systems and alternate ways of supporting one another so that as these systems change and fall and become reimagined, that we don't have to suffer as a collective. And that gives me a lot of hope. And I'm really excited to bring these teachings on these upper dimensions, as well as so many others that are coming in for this course that I'm starting next Monday. One of the best things that has come out of this spiritual experience that I recently had was I was able to go through and reconnect with all of my guides in a higher octave. And because I was so worried about channeling this higher light and being able to integrate it, they showed me a whole collective that can work with us as individuals to integrate these higher frequencies and to support our nervous systems and to support our bodies as we begin to transform and rise in consciousness and bring more light into the very basic density of our physical vessel. And so I've just been calling them the integration team, for lack of a better word, but that's one of the collectives that we're going to be working with in this class. And I'm going to be teaching you all how to connect with your guides through this space of equality and unity consciousness, where you're not looking at them to fix you or looking at them to provide an answer that you don't already have. They just become a part of a support team that you know you are being held by. And it's interesting, as I've been integrating this difference between the concept of unity consciousness as a thought form and an embodiment of it, the level of trust and awareness and just co-creation that I'm able to have with the energetic plane has just expanded, including my guides. And I really want you all to have that level of safety and support and comfort, because it is really helping me to navigate as a sensitive and empathic being all of the things that I'm seeing in the world around me that are creating suffering and struggle. And it's helping me to stay centered. And I think I know we need to stay centered as all of these things transform, because if we don't, we're dropping into a disempowered state. And then we can't bring online all of this new energy and all of these new possibilities. And I really want to activate that hope and that excitement for you all in this course. I see it as helping you all to plug into a higher octave of source consciousness, a higher octave of your own timeline, so that you can start to really move the needle on some ideas, some visions, some things that you're holding for yourself, first and foremost, and then hopefully for humanity as well. And when we come together as a collective and we do this higher frequency work together, and we start moving these energies out as an individual, and we start coming into more of our empowerment, you are absolutely serving the collective. I've said, and the guides have said for the last couple of years, that this is a ground up exercise, right? We know that the leaders at the top of the house are probably not going to come in and solve all of our problems. We are going to have to take care of one another, and we are going to have to work as individuals to be in our highest light so that we can support one another. And so I feel like every person that I am able to help to tap into these higher frequencies and tap into their higher knowing and their higher truth is helping to support the collective to rise out of this duality once and for all and move forward towards unity. So I'm really excited to bring this through. It feels a little scary to bring through things that I have never taught before. It's been a while since I have brought in something this expansive and this brand new, probably since my New Earth Now school a couple of years ago. And for those of you that joined that program, this is going to be a huge expansion of that. And it's going to take place starting on February 24th. There will be 3 modules at the end of February. And then there will be 3 modules in the middle to later half of March. And so it'll be 6 parts. So if you want to know more about that, check that out below this video. I also am really excited. I'm launching a new series of in-person workshops that might ultimately translate over to virtual workshops as well, if I can figure out how to shift the format. They're called Beyond the Story. And really what I want to help people to do is to move out of telling these same victim stories over and over again and being stuck in places where they've experienced loss, where they've experienced difficult relationships, traumatic experiences, and move forward. And the first of them is going to be about healing narcissistic wounding, which all of us have, because all of our systems that are dismantling right now have narcissistic tendencies and energies that are disempowering us every single day. So even if you've never been in a narcissistic relationship with a parent or a partner or another relation, we are bombarded with these energies all the time. And they're actually just asking us to move up in frequency. They're asking us to claim our power, but that's often not what we feel when we are bombarded by them. And so we're going to, in this workshop, create an opportunity for you all to tell that story one last time and claim the wisdom and the healing on the other side of this and integrate that through the frequency of gratitude so that you can move forward and be in your power and not need to be pulled down into those narcissistic energies anymore. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're local to the Charlotte area, that's happening on March 8th. And I'll put that below this video as well. Like I said, I'm going to see if I can turn this into a virtual workshop, if I can figure out how to make the processes that are coming in virtual for you all. The last thing that I'll say is we are also going to Costa Rica and Peru. We're pretty much sold out for Costa Rica. I think I have one person that's going to take that last slot. So if you're interested, jump on it. And our trip to Peru is going to really, I think, what I'm bringing through in this resource course, in this connection to source, which is an expansion of our connection to our divine masculine energies, that's really what we're going to be anchoring in as we go to the sacred mountains in Peru. It's going to be a very special journey. I'm starting to feel all of the energies and the excitement and the downloads coming in for that as well. We have some spaces open for that. That's not happening until the end of July. So if you'd like to hop on and go with us, my husband and I would love to have you join us on that sacred adventure as well. All right, so that's what's going on in the ethers. Keep practicing being in this balance of polarity, this balance of strength and vulnerability. Be with those vulnerable parts and see the strength in them, and then see those strong parts and see if maybe there's a few vulnerable cracks that need some love. Okay? So that's what's going on this week. Thank you all for listening. Have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.